So why is small talk so much like foreplay? Well, the analogies are endless, aren't they? From fumbling your way through it with sheer embarrassment to being highly skilled and leaving the other person wanting, well, a little bit more. Now, I don't want to be smutty. This is not about me being rude, but it's true. Because people talk about small talk and they describe it as being unfulfilling, awkward, ignored, too much like hard work, pointless, boring, obligatory, or simply something they find impossible to master. But what they don't see is that the principle of small talk is the reason why the greatest artists in the world have a warm-up act before the main event. Can you imagine going to a concert to see your favourite artist and they walk on stage, perform their greatest hit, and then they walk off? How would that leave you feeling? Even though it's your favourite song, the one you've been building up to for ages, I suspect we'd all feel disappointed and unfulfilled. But that will never happen, and that's because every successful person knows that the more you can ease people in, set the mood and create a sense of connection, the more likely you will be to leave them wanting to come back for more. And that's exactly what small talk does in a conversation. It is not a meaningless filler. It's the essential opening act that prepares both you and the other person to connect on a deeper level. Skip it and it leaves the other person feeling rushed, pressured, and not quite ready to engage any further. So in this video, I want to show you how to stop seeing small talk as, well, a tick box exercise, something you've already decided that you're not very good at, or something you tend to skip in order to get straight down to business. I want to show you how to master the art of small talk with a really effective conversational opener, so you're able to find common ground and make an informed decision on whether there is any potential to take the relationship further. Being good at small talk not only makes you feel more confident when meeting new people, it's also a skill that makes other people remember you, and for all the right reasons. You see, people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel heard and understood. So when you engage in small talk effectively, it increases your likability and boosts your credibility, both of which are traits and the fundamentals of building stronger relationships and winning more business. Yet, so many people find it one of the greatest obstacles to overcome when meeting people for the first time. And in the same way that nobody wants to find themselves face to face with somebody in a bar who walks up to them and mumbles, "Hi, I'm whoever, and do you fancy coming back to my place?" Nobody wants you to walk into a network meeting or a potential client meeting, an event, and hear you say, "Hi, I'm whoever, and do you fancy getting down to business?" So when people don't know how to open up the conversation, what do? Well, they fudge their way through it with these nervous jokes that put themselves down, because that overcomes this embarrassment. Or maybe you've got a list of these totally random and unrelated one-liners like, "Isn't the weather bad?" and "Oh, wasn't the traffic terrible this morning?" And of course, there is what I see is the weakest and the biggest turn-off question of them all, and that is, "So what do you do?" The problem with these questions is you're trying so hard to keep the conversation going that it ends up feeling more like an interview or an interrogation. So why is small talk such a vital life skill to master? Well, here's the issue. If in your head you are constantly thinking, "What should I be saying?" or "What should I be doing next?" you're not really in the moment. You're somewhere else entirely. And that doesn't only make you feel more anxious, it leaves the other person feeling irrelevant. And that will mean that they end up looking for an excuse to end the interaction and, of course, make a quick exit. So let's look at fixing it. Small talk isn't about you, it's about your ability to show genuine interest in the other person. Yeah, it is all about them. And when you learn how to shift the focus from how you feel to ensuring the other person feels the most important in the interaction, you will start to create a connection that flows and evolves naturally. A connection that will inevitably, and if delivered consistently over time, lead to, as they say, doing the business. The analogies are endless, aren't they? But it's true. If you want to grow your business and win clients, you have to put in the effort right from the start. And you know what? It is something you simply can't fast track. When you meet someone for the first time, you have just seconds where you will both form a judgment. and then spend the remaining minutes looking for evidence to either confirm or deny your initial thoughts. They do say that you never get a second chance to make a first impression, but I believe that first impressions aren't lasting impressions. So if you feel those first few seconds didn't quite go to plan, your approach should always be to do whatever you can to start building this genuine connection. Now, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about how to make a winning first impression. So if this is resonating with you, now's a good time. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and then you will be the first to find out when I upload the video. Anyway, for now, let me share my conversation starter and the secret to digging deeper, not wider. Okay, I want to start off by saying, and listen to this, never, ever, ever, ever ask that question, what do you do? Because it's not just an opting out of making any effort question, it's boring, it's repetitive. Be honest, how many times have you been asked that question? And you're probably still working out what to say. Or maybe you've got that pre-rehearsed and scripted response of, oh, I helped such a body to do such a thing by doing whatever it is. But in real life, we just don't talk like that. For me, I think that question is more of a fact-finding mission to see if they're actually worth talking to. I see it all the time at networking events. If their profession complements who or what could be of benefit, the eyes light up and they then move on to this next step of this interrogation process. But if their work appears to be of little value or interest, well, the eyes start scanning the room for an escape route, only to move on to the next person that they can find in this small talk production line. When I was a child, I loved chicken nugget and chips. Now bear with this, because I ate chicken nuggets and chips, but as I started to grow up and grow older, so did my taste buds. Because I began to try new foods and expand my food choices. And it's exactly the same when making a conversation. You need to mature, you need to grow, you need to experiment with new ways. You can't be having the same conversation today that you were having 5 or 10 years ago. Small talk isn't about serving everybody you meet chicken nuggets. That's both lazy and boring. It's about showing interest and taking time to feed them what they want. Yeah, it's a skill, but I promise you, the more that you practice and the more that you do it, the easier it gets. So instead, think of questions that disrupt their thinking and are of value to them. Let me give you an example. Instead of what do you do, ask, so what part of your work is keeping you the busiest at the moment? Or what part of your work do you enjoy doing the most? This isn't asking what they do, it's asking them to think about particular aspects of their work that are currently the most relevant in their mind, and therefore they're already thinking about it. But here's the thing, asking the question is just the beginning. Because if whilst they are talking, your mind is busy thinking of what to say or do next, you're right back into that irrelevant questioning and interrogation process. You're not present. It's impossible to think of your next question until they have finished speaking, because you only know what to say based upon their response. So relax, the pressure is now off you, because your only job is to listen and be genuinely interested in them. The skill here isn't about coming up with just something else to say to fill a gap. It's about being present in the moment, and it's about being curious. Let's say you ask the question, what's keeping you busiest at the moment? And they reply, oh, I've just won a contract with a new client and I'm having to learn all about their industry. Don't now jump to a new topic. Dig deeper, not wider. Let me explain. You need to find the part of their answer that interests you and use it to create your response. So, for example, they've now mentioned that they've got a new client and they're working with a different industry. So you could say something like, oh, so do you work with a broad range of industries? Or, oh my word, I love doing research. How do you go about finding, more details about new industries? This shows 2 key things. First, that you're actually listening, because people love to be heard. And second, that you are genuinely interested, because people love to feel understood. And that is the foundation for a real connection. And in opposition, we have what I call the disaster conversation. Now, the disaster conversation is where you just fail at every point. So you could say to somebody, oh, hi, what do you do? Their response is, oh, I'm in marketing. you bring it back to yourself and go, oh, my friend's in marketing. And they go, oh, yeah, really? And then you end up saying, by the way, I'm an accountant. Who does your accounts? You're going straight for the business way too soon. It doesn't work. So the next time that you find yourself heading into a room full of new faces, remember, life isn't like it is in the movies, because we don't have stage managers or script writers or the ability to retake the moment because we messed up our lines or we didn't quite look our best. Real life is about making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. So if whilst you're learning, you find yourself making a joke because you're nervous or feeling embarrassed, or if you accidentally say something that feels a little bit irrelevant or awkward, it's just a sign that you're being authentic and a real human, and that is who people want to be with. Remember, small talk is not about being the most interesting person, it's about being the most interested and creating a moment where somebody else feels seen and heard. The less pressure that you put on yourself, the more natural you will sound. And I promise you, people will always appreciate authenticity way more than perfect words. My next video will be all about first impressions. So if you want more practical tips on how to master the art of communication and build your confidence, hit the subscribe button and let's do this together. Thanks so much for watching.